Morning YouTubers, Mike Martin's here. Mike Martin's channel. Bringing you a little bit of food for thought. A bit of serious discussion. With all this that's happening on YouTube and a lot of channels being purged and wiped clean. And why do you think, now think about this. Why do you think people come up with theories? Or why do you think people come up with a different narrative? Or why do you think people come out on social media platforms or even on forums or different ways of social media to discuss their points of views? Why do you think? Why is that happening a lot? It's because, this is my opinion, we aren't given everything up front anymore, or ever now. Are we being given what are we being told what we should know? Are we being told everything? And the answer is no. And the reason why people are coming out and speculating points of views, conspiracy theorists, whatever you want to call them, want to challenge the status quo or want to challenge the argument that's at stake or that's on the table. Now, this is good because it creates constructive criticism, negative criticism. It creates a pattern. It creates a thought, and then things happen from thoughts. Now, I don't know if anyone's paid attention or noticed that anytime there's a new bill passed or anytime there's something that happens going forward, it's not in benefit for us. Zero of it is in benefit of us. If they pass a new law, it's not going to be in benefit of anybody. If they mask a new law where they give it a name like the I Love Teddy Bears Act, but it's really about abortions, it's everything. I'm just talking about, like, I'm just giving examples, okay? So what's happening is anything that comes into fruition or anything that comes into law or anything that gets passed or anything that happens is always for the worse. Yeah, I see the positive in things. I definitely do. I get it. But then us, or people in general, we're human beings and we thrive for knowledge and we thrive to know. No matter how much they want to bring us down or take us down, or we always going to want to know, no matter what. 100 years, 1,000 years from now, we're still going to be in the know. Because there's always something to learn. And let's go to learning. What are we learning nowadays? Like, I don't even know if I want to send my kids to grade school. What are they learning in schools nowadays? Is it going to damage them for life, or is it going to benefit them for life? And then there's the whole thing like, oh, if your kid wants to go to school, he needs to have vaccines. That goes on to another topic. Are they even safe? I'm not going to vaccinate my kids. If they're not allowed to go to school, then that's fine. You know what I'm saying? My kids will learn more traveling around the world, picking up different languages, learning the way of life from different people's eyes, understanding cultures and agricultures and foreign policies. And you get what I'm saying? You learn a lot more doing that, and you become more streetwise, which I think is a lot more important than any college degree in the world. But in all fairness, we thrive to bring up or question or try to understand. My biggest thing for the longest time was I come to Vancouver and I was living in South Florida. Okay, the average house in South Florida at the time, this was in 2007-ish, 2008, just before the crash. The average house went from 110,000 to 300,000. Everyone was like, holy crap. Everyone's freaking out. Then it crashed back to 80,000. So the problem was, when I arrived in Vancouver, my big thing was, this was 11 years ago. I look at the house and I'm like, wait a minute, that's $900,000, $800,000. Now the same house is $2 million. But I arrived to Vancouver, it's like, wait a minute, that house is $800,000? Coming from another place or living in different cities, what you could buy with that kind of money is just phenomenal. You could have a plane and a house and a cottage for that much money. So I look and I say, look, no, I'm not paying $900,000. Mind you, if I did, I could have probably sold it for $2-3 million. But it's ludicrous that was my thing for the longest time. And that's why I've been talking about these housing issues and why things are happening, you know. But there's a lot of things at play, you know. Canada itself sold out to the highest bidder, you know. Canada itself sold out to the highest bidder. And it doesn't matter who it is. And that's the problem, you know. Canada tried to protect its sovereignty back in the mid to early 2000s when they deported scores of Portuguese back to Portugal. Planeloads of Portuguese back to Portugal. Tons of Portuguese. People living 12, 15 years. People that speak English. People that assimilated to the Canadian culture. People that sent their kids through school. People that pay taxes, work construction. They sent tens of thousands of Portuguese back to Portugal in the province of Ontario. And working culture, a religious culture, you know, sent them all back. And I thought, you know, it's pretty bad. You know, I'm Portuguese, and that's tough. It's a tough pill to swallow. But maybe Canada's looking out for protecting its what, because Ontario would have been Portugal today with the amount of immigration coming in. But they wanted to protect that. Now, here's the problem. What a lot of people don't understand. What makes Germany, Germany? And I brought this up last year, and it brought up some really good discussion. People are forgetting this. What makes Germany, Germany? Why is Germany, Germany? Is it because the map says it is? Is it because the border is there? What makes India, India? Why is India, India? Why is Brazil, Brazil? Is it because they speak Portuguese? Is it why are these countries the way they are? Why are they called these countries? Well, there's a reason why. There's a reason why. Germany is Germany because the people that live there are German. Of Germanian descendants. The French are France because they're derived from the Franks. They're French. That's why they're France. Do you see what I'm saying? Now, my question is, what is Canada? Why is Canada Canada? It used to be, back in the early 80s, that it was because the people that live there are Canadian. That's what makes Canada. But things have changed so much in the last 10 years, 20 years, that Germany is Germany. Now, to what degree? What does it mean to be German? What does it mean to be Canadian? What does it mean? You know what I'm saying? These borders were put in place to divide, not to segregate, but so people could create their border to create a divide in the cultures to show, okay, this belongs to Mexico. We're going to leave Mexico alone. These are for the Mexican people. The Mexican people own this land. Us, the Republic of Texas, we won't, even though we took over a whole bunch of it, but we won't be taking Mexico because that belongs to Mexico. Germany, or Portugal's borders, this belongs to Portugal. Oldest borders in Europe. Borders are over 1,000 years old in Portugal. Still the same. But this belongs to Portugal. Spain, don't go in there because that is Portuguese. The Portuguese own that. It is Portuguese culture. You could go visit. You could move there. But Just respect the culture and become the culture, you know? There's nothing better, in my opinion, than becoming the culture that you are moving or becoming part of. Because I lived in Mexico for a good while, and I became Mexican. I became that culture. I became the fiestas. I became the amazing food. I became, you know, it was good because I became it. I understood what it meant to be Mexican. I speak Mexican today. Yo hablo mexicano. Wait. And, but what I'm saying is borders were put in place to protect the culture and protect the people living and preserving their culture. Now, I had a friend come back from Vancouver because he had to do something in a hospital there. He had to go to the hospital and he had to spend 2 days there to get something taken care of. And he said that nobody spoke English. He went to the hospital. The people worked there had a really hard time grasping the English language. And then not only that, he's outside after going for a stroll. 2 days later, before he comes up, no one is speaking the English language. And it bothers me because my parents speak English, Portugal, and everyone that assimilated from Portugal all learned English. And we all became like Canada. We all became Canadian, right? But what's happening now? Why is this whole pushback of people? There's a lot of kids being born in Canada that do not speak English. And then when they get to grade school, they just have to be put in English ESL because they don't speak English. People aren't assimilating and respecting the culture of the country and what it has to offer. So that's why there's this divide between countries, because this is American territory. Us Canadians, we don't want to bother the Americans. This belongs to them. This is their culture. This is their way of life. Just leave them alone. If they want to come here, hey, how's it going? Yeah, good for you. Yeah, you speak English too. Great. Merry Christmas. Great. But being accepting of things is one thing, and then tolerating things is another. Now, one thing I never understood was when someone immigrates to a country, we'll give Canada as an example because I'm here and I could see forefront what's going on. One thing I don't understand is why does someone immigrate here to hate the people that live here and despise them, openly despise them, and dislike the people living in the country? That's one thing I never understood. I never got it. Why somebody would move here and purposely hate everybody. I've never done that. I spent almost 6 months in Cuba. I love the Cubans, the culture, the cigars, the way of life, the language, the music, the women. It's fantastic. It's when I went to Brazil, the culture, the language. I love speaking Portuguese. It's like I love speaking Portuguese. I go there, oi, como va? Tudo bem? Like I love going there and just forget the whole English thing. You know what I'm saying? So I don't go there to hate the people in Brazil and despise them and then look at them with these looks. I don't go to the United States to hate the Americans. I don't know what's happening. I don't care where people come from, but it's a good idea that people start to embrace and what it means to be Canadian, and maybe you might like it. You might actually like it a lot if you gave it a chance. I don't know, guys. I'm just talking, why do people bring up specific topics? It's because we want to know. Why are conspiracy theories sewn up and most of them coming true or coming to fruition? Because it's just the way it is. We want to know. Even if we're on this earth for another month or a day or next year we pass on, you know what? Until that day we pass off this earth, we're still going to want to know until that day. So let me know what you guys think. I know there's a lot of topics jumbled into one. First one was why, we're in the know. Why are they taking it away from us? Second thing I was talking about was the way countries are divided because of protection of to protect the cultures living in the country from hostile takeovers and blah blah blah, and protecting and segregating from other possible threats. Okay, and then the other one was why. There's a couple there, but the other main one point I brought up is why do people come here to not stand for our national anthem, hate your neighbors, and basically make things your way, like, and I don't get it. Maybe it's just because I'm not educated enough to figure these things out. There's got to be a bigger thing happening that I'm just so out of the loop that I didn't get the agenda. Let me know what you guys think. Thanks for watching.